the Digital Gal, and I teach Facebook ads with my four-week Facebook ads bootcamp and my Swift Kick in the Ads trainings. So if you need to learn Facebook ads, you're definitely in the right place. If you just want to geek out with me on anything ads related, you are also in the right place. If you like pink and sparkly things, you are also in the right place. If you like none of the above, well, just drop by, say hi, check it out, and see how it feels. So before I dig into today's topic, which is going to be about budgeting for your Facebook ads on a tight budget, I first wanted to say this was birthday week. Well, it is birthday week, I guess. Birthday was on Monday, so it's birthday week. And I have to say, I have some of the best friends in the entire world. I can see a notification popping up. Hey, Tim, I don't have it set up to pull everyone's profile photos from every location, but and I love pink and sparkly things. All right, so we know you're in the right place then. This is great. So I had quite the birthday week so far. I have to say, honestly, I have the best friends in the entire world. So if you don't know, I'm sitting right here in Victoria, British Columbia. Thank you. Thank you. I'm in Victoria, British Columbia. So I'm in Canada. All of my friends, well, not all, but my really closest friends are in the United States. And my best friend is in San Diego. So this has been quite a birthday week. I had a cake delivered right to my door from my best friend in San Diego. So I've been eating chocolate cake for days. I had a cake made for me as well from the lovely folks upstairs that I'm renting from. I was just completely spoiled. I had flowers arrive from my friends. I had all sorts of goodies show up. What did I do for my birthday? I went for a hike to a waterfall. And then we got everyone's saying hi to each other here. So what did I do for my birthday? Nothing. Here, let me get rid of that bigness there. I went hiking to a waterfall. So outside of all this pink and sparkly, I actually do love anything camping, off-grid, hiking, chasing waterfalls, any place that I probably shouldn't be going, that's probably where you'll find me. So it was a really cool experience for my birthday. But outside of that, I don't know if I should be mentioning this on my live stream, but like I said, I have the best friends in the world. Guess what they got me for my birthday? On top of all of that, they got me a male stripper for my birthday. It was insane. In all of this COVID time, it was a male dancer, we'll say. It was a male dancer on live video, just making us hoot and holler and laugh, and it was one of the best experiences I think I've ever had. I've never had that happen to me before, so it was quite an experience. So yeah, all the comments rolling through. Yeah, so that happened, and that was pretty cool. So it's been a pretty cool birthday week so far. Really happy. Honestly, I've had some pretty rocky birthdays leading up till now, so this really like reset everything back to like it felt so good. I feel so loved, and I want to give a special shout out to Rich Brooks and Gigi, because they sent me a birthday video that was full of complete humor. They were dressed gorgeously from the on the top up, and they had beautiful birthday wishes, and then on camera you see them turn around and walk away, and Rich is in his boxer shorts and Gigi's in yoga pants and slippers, and it was hilarious. So I know that I am surrounded by wonderful people. I know that I am loved, and it was great. Look at everyone's giving giant shout outs, and everyone's saying hi to each other. It's so good to see everybody rocking on in here. All right, so I guess we should chit-chat a little bit about ads. What in the ads is going on? Now, in previous weeks, I dug all into the Apple and iOS 14 updates and how that's going to impact your Facebook ads. I'm not going to touch on that on this. I have a YouTube video on it if you want to go check it out. YouTube, The Digital Gal is the channel. I also have a Facebook Live that I did on it. I have interviews with industry experts on my Facebook page. So if you need to learn anything about the upcoming Apple iOS 14 update and how that's going to impact our ads, you're going to want to head on over to The Digital Gal's Facebook, scroll through. You're going to see lots of content on there, or over onto YouTube to watch that video. So we're going to park that news. The other news I'm not going to talk about today is WhatsApp, how Facebook owns WhatsApp. WhatsApp has a new privacy policy update that was going to be rolling out in February. It's had everyone freaking out on jumping ship from the platform and trying to find another encrypted platform that truly is private. Facebook has now said we're going to hold off on that update, and they've pushed that out further. So they're going to have more time to develop the language and prep everybody on that. I'm also not going to touch on that today. I'm not going to go into that. What I am going to go into today, however, is talking about budgeting. So we are at the beginning of the year. If you run on a fiscal year from January following the calendar year, we're at the beginning of your year. So everyone is talking about budgets. Lots of budgets have rolled over and renewed, and some of you are running small businesses or entrepreneurs or helping other businesses where you don't really have a lot of budget to work with, or your budget is already spoken for. But even with everything going on under the sun of Facebook advertising, even though it's been a rocky road with ad rejections, another video coming out on that later this evening, even though we know it's been a really rough road with Facebook ads, that doesn't stop the fact that advertisers are still advertising on Facebook. Facebook is still where you can go and get a best response for the lowest cost of investment. So it's not like LinkedIn ads where you have to spend big money, even though, yes, you can target LinkedIn ads, you can target the perfect job titles that you're going after, but it comes with a much bigger price tag, and you better have your sales system ready to rock and roll and figured out. Well, with Facebook ads, you have a little more breathing room, I guess you can say. You can get some really, really low cost video views, for example. So if you want to get someone to watch 15 seconds or more of your videos, those are called a through play. You can get those as low as 1 to 2 cents a through play. And so when you amplify that across all your ads, you can budget for that accordingly. But getting people to watch your videos doesn't necessarily mean it's leading into sales. So this conversation today isn't going to be a total drill down on strategy, because if you want strategy, you can get that in my Facebook ads 4-week bootcamp. We have another one of those kicking off on February 2nd. So if you want to learn Facebook ads from the ground up, where you learn how to create your ads using Ads Manager, do your audiences and targeting. Week 3, we dive into budget and strategy. So today we're going to just touch on budget here, not the strategy part. And then week 4, it's reporting and optimizing. Then the bootcamp, February 2nd, that's where you're going to want to be. All right? But for today, I really want to help get you calibrated in the direction of understanding that you do need to have a little bit of rhyme and reason behind the budget. So if you are going out on Facebook ads and you want to say, all right, that's it, I'm committing to doing Facebook ads this year, we're going to do this, we're going to put a couple $100 behind our ads, and we want to see 100 leads come in. We need to first set realistic expectations. And then we need to align a strategy to your budget. And most people will say, well, you should, get the strategy and then fit the budget into that. Well, a lot of us that don't have a ton of budget to work with, a lot of ad dollars to work with, you kind of need to look at, when it comes to Facebook ads, if you're working on the smaller end of the scale of budget, say $500 or under, then we can't do it all. So we need to look at how much money we have to work with first, and then we need to fit in the different tactics that can help make the best use of those dollars. We want to stretch your ad dollars as far as we can and actually get results rolling through. So that does come down to managing expectations. So if we're going out with $500 and we want to get thousands of leads, it's not going to happen because leads cost more. Anytime Facebook is hooking you up with customer data or hooking you up with a potential sale, they want their cut too. So that's why perhaps not having all of your Facebook ads eggs in one basket, or your marketing eggs in one basket, might be the case. So I know I teach Facebook ads. I know I help you do your Facebook ads. And I know I'm the Facebook ads girl here saying, hey, maybe you don't need to put your whole budget into Facebook ads. Hear me out. So if we only have, let me pull up some examples here to walk through. Let's go over here. We'll talk about this one in a second here, but what I want to show you are just some hypothetical conversations surrounding budget. So let's say, for example, that you have a small budget to work with. Let's go over here. Say we have a budget of $250. Well, I'm not going to be able to do everything that I want to do, from reaching a cold audience of people and warming them up and getting them to fall in love with my charm and my wit and my strategies. I'm not going to be able to do all of that if I have a tiny budget. And then getting them to become a warm audience where, hey, they've maybe been to my website. Maybe they signed up for my email list. Maybe they have taken one of my webinars. That's someone who's a lot more familiar than that first impression touch point. So if I have a really tiny budget to work with, I might not be able to do all the things. But if I have a larger budget to work with, so say here, say I drop, $5,000, which I know a lot of us small businesses don't have $5,000 a month to drop into our Facebook ads. But with this, I can do a lot more. So when it comes to managing those expectations, if I have a large budget, I can reach a huge cold audience of people across all of North America, perhaps the United Kingdom and Australia and New Zealand, and I can reach a really wide spread of people. And then with that, then I can retarget them to get them to engage with my webinars or to download my lead magnets, etc. And then from there, I can upsell and sell to them with my ads and then retarget them with testimonials. You can have a complete robust strategy and you can run your ad dollars through and have it working like a well-oiled machine. But if we only have $250, let's say, to crank into that, well, we're kind of spreading our budget a little bit thin. So when you see how this is spreading, and guys, this is literally just example conversational purposes only. This is not an actual strategy and budget that I'm recommending that you do. This is just to illustrate the point. So with this, if you are trying to pump a $250 monthly budget on your ads and trying to expect that you're going to reach a cold audience, warm up your warm audience, retarget people and upsell them into sales, it's not going to happen. So in that case, we need to reset our expectations. So by realigning your expectations and instead of, let me just pull myself back up here so I can see what I'm looking at. There we go. So instead of trying to do it all, then dedicate that $250 to building awareness and getting your ads circulating in front of a new group of people. So you're busting out of your little circle this little ceiling that you can't seem to reach above. Speaking of ceiling and reaching above that, that's where this example comes in handy. So let me go back over here and let me pop back over here. So when it comes to, this is a behind the scenes on my Facebook page, which again, don't blame the mechanic who always has a broken car. I can do a lot more on my own content, and I am focusing on it this year. So you're going to see a lot more in here. But what we're looking for is when you have content that is constantly reaching just the same number of people. So for example, these posts are hitting a ceiling. They're tipping out at 150 to 200 in reach and very little engagement. The more engagement that you get on your content, the more organic reach you get. And with your ads, the more high quality your ads are, the more engagement they're getting, then the further they distribute at a lower cost. So ultimately, these are goals. And if you're running yourself up against this ceiling here of not really being able to get your content to bust through and get circulated and get seen by more people, two ways of doing that. Number one is adjust your content. That's first and foremost. Number one, adjust your content. Because if you're shoving links at people and people don't want links, then they're not clicking on links. Then it doesn't matter how much ad budget you pour behind it. It's still not going to help. You're just wasting your ad dollars. So you might be trying to promote a link to a blog post and you're throwing $50 behind it and it's costing you $2 to $3 per link click. It's way too much money. It's crazy. And that's not helping serve you. Now, had you posted the exact same content and instead of just posting a link to your blog post, and instead you found a high quality image and you used storytelling and you gave context and purpose as to why somebody would want to go and click on that particular article or blog post or whatever it is. If you give people good reason to click, then you'll get a higher click-through rate and embed the link into the text. So that's taking the exact same content, just changing tactics, and now you're able to get more out of that content. So now if we start pouring that, say $50 in ad budget behind circulating that new post, still pointing to your blog, but just set up differently, well, now instead of $2 to $3 per link click, now we're cruising along at 25 cents a link click. Much better. And it's helping kind of jumpstart the algorithm. So you only want to be pouring ad dollars behind content that's already proven that it can perform. So when it comes to experimenting, this is another thing I want you to factor in to your budgeting, is that you're not going to be able to hit the ground running and know what works. Thanks, Lisa. Appreciate that. Most of us, we don't know what works when we first start. And this applies for anyone that I work with, any ad accounts that I touch, anybody that I'm helping with Facebook ads. I say we're going to work together for a minimum of 3 months in order for us to kind of get up to speed where we know things are working. So you need to budget for that too, knowing that, okay, month 1 when I start doing my Facebook ads, our objective, managing those expectations, setting that goal, isn't that we're going to have tons of clicks to the blog, lots of signups, and purchases. That's not going to happen in month 1 if I'm only working with $250 to $500 in ad spend per month. It's going to take longer. So then month 1, I'll change my focus and say, all right, this month, my job is to increase the number of people who have viewed videos on the page, or increase the number of people who have engaged with our Facebook page, like, click, comment, share, or increase the number of people who have engaged with our Instagram posts. So video views and engagement. That's it. Those are cheap and cheerful. They're easy to get. They let you stretch your budget really far and have a pretty big impact on a wide group of people. That is an excellent starting place. So if you don't have a lot of budget to work with, set your sights on that. Set your sights smaller, lower those expectations. You're not going to get all the clicks to your website. They cost a lot of money. So let's keep that attention span on Facebook instead. Keep them on the platform because it's cheaper to keep people on Facebook than to send them off. And it's cheaper to get ads circulating in front of people when you're not asking for their data in exchange. So keeping that in mind and factoring that into how much money you have to work with. So you can allow the rest of your marketing to do the heavy lifting for you. You should not be relying 110% on just Facebook ads to sell whatever it is that you are selling or to acquire new business. Facebook ads shouldn't be your be-all and end-all. I have an example. There was a business who was selling product on Instagram, and this business was growing. It was starting to boom, and they had so many people that were registering for their program, signing up, purchasing products through Instagram ads. They built their entire business model around it. And then, of course, we all inevitably know what happened here. Their ad account was shut down, and it killed their business overnight. So they were able to get it appealed, get back up and going, but that's an absolute core interruption to business, and nobody wants to see that happen. So you're not going to be, most typically, you're not putting all of your eggs in the Facebook ads basket. It's doing one portion of the heavy lifting of your marketing, but choose wisely. If you have a conservative budget to work with, don't expect that Facebook is going to produce sales for you. However, that doesn't mean that Facebook ads can't be the full engine behind driving awareness. So you can circulate ads that are cheap and cheerful, low cost, focusing on ads that are getting people to engage, which is commenting or liking or giving a reaction on the post, or getting people to watch videos. So producing high quality video content to lead with your best foot forward to make that first impression, and widely circulate video content. Start growing your audience sizes. So once you start growing audience sizes of people who have watched your videos, retarget them with more videos. Retarget them again. Them again. If you just had budget that was strictly dedicated to getting people to watch videos, watch your video content, and you did that from now until the end of the year, you're going to notice a lift in sales. You're getting more attention span, and the more you keep retargeting your audiences, the more you can acquire and surface these top fans, people who are really interested in you or interested in your business and interested in your content. And it helps weed out the people who are not interested. So that if you're working on a conservative budget, you're spending those ad dollars, you're continuing to spend it on the people who are most important to you and acquiring people along the way. Now, if you have a larger budget to work with, you can kind of bypass all of this and just build your huge engine and get it all running and purring and dialed in and be making sales within a month, which is lovely. But not all of us have that luxury. So do you recommend Facebook ads to help promote live shows or afterwards? 110% yes. And that's why it's important to make sure that your live streams follow Facebook's ads policies. So, for example, I had a live stream, actually it's almost a year ago now, where somebody said a negative word in the comments. Somebody said a swear word in the comments. And I pulled up, you know me, I pull comments up and I'll sometimes read them on screen without like pre-screening them. Hey, I'm learning. And because I'm reading the comments, I ended up swearing on screen because I just read what was written there. And then, of course, because it had a swear word in it, profanity, the ad got rejected. I wasn't able to put advertising dollars on it. So that was unfortunate. Now, if you are doing a strategy of using Facebook ads to help promote shows, and is it to help promote the live show or to circulate it as an ad afterwards? Right now, I would use those ad dollars to circulate the content afterwards. Rather than promoting to get people to come and watch, I would circulate it afterwards because I think you can stretch those ad dollars further and get a bigger bang for your buck if you're taking already produced content and pushing that out there. Because if you are pushing out your live stream, for example, if you're trying to push that out to get people to watch, you have to rely really, really heavily on your title to do the selling, and you just have such a short piece of real estate to really sell it to get people to come and watch. So I'd much rather see you use those ad dollars on the back half and to be able to push that content, really, really get that content moving further. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to spend ad dollars on every single live stream that you do. Some are going to have better engagement than others, and in that case, what I recommend is if you have posts that are getting a higher amount of engagement, definitely leverage your ad dollars on those posts. So you can promote an existing post, you can promote a live stream after it has aired, and put your budget on the things that are already performing well. It's like fanning a flame. If the flame is already burning hot and you keep chucking more fuel onto it, it's going to continue being a raging, roaring fire. Whereas if you have like a little dying fire that's almost about to get snuffed out and you chuck some more fuel on it, you can suffocate it. So that's the other thing I want you to be very, very careful of when it comes to your ad budget is, especially when you're working with small budgets, that usually indicates to me that you have small audience sizes. So when I'm talking about audience sizes, I'm talking about how many people do you have on your website visitor's audience, retargeting anyone who's been to your website. How many people do you have on your email list that you are retargeting with Facebook ads? How many people have watched your videos? How many people have engaged with your page? If those audience sizes are under 1,000, then Facebook doesn't actually give you real numbers. They just say under 1,000. If those audience sizes are, 5,000 to 10,000, at least that's a size you can start to work with. But if the audience sizes are way too tiny, and then you turn around and you take all your ad budget and you just try to hammer that to your warm audiences, say your email list. Say if you have 500 people on your email list, and you're spending $250 a month hammering that email list with the same ads over and over and over, you're going to exhaust your audiences. You're going to make them pretty cranky. They're not going to like it. And their response is going to be to click on the little drop down where they can click on hide ads, hide ad, or hide all ads. That is a huge negative black mark on you as an advertiser. If you have too many people doing that, your ad costs are going to go through the roof, your ad quality is going to sink, and your ads are just going to cost you a lot more and you're going to get fewer results across the board. We don't want that to happen. So be very careful not to pour too much budget onto too small of an audience. And then the next logical question is, well, Amanda, how do we know if we're doing that? You know if you're doing that when you see your frequency. So frequency is a metric. When you go into Ads Manager, you can find your frequency, which is how often those ads are being shown to the same people. So for example, myself, I'm one person, but I might be scrolling through ads on Facebook, and I see different ads, and then I head on over to Instagram, and I'm on Instagram, I'm in stories, and then I might see the exact same ad, but I see it over here in Instagram stories. Then I go back over to Facebook, and I'm kicking around a marketplace, and I see the same ad, but in a marketplace placement. Then I jump onto my desktop, and I'm scrolling around, and I have in the top right, the right-hand placement, another ad for the exact same product. So that's what I did not count, but 5 different placements? So that's me, one person, getting 5 different impressions. And depending on what it is and what's being advertised, that's okay. The higher the ask, the higher the level of impressions, there's more bandwidth for it. So if you have a lead ad and you're asking for their name, their phone number, their email address, any of their personal data where they know someone's going to pick up the phone and call them, they might have to be shown that ad 6, 7, 8 times before they take action. But if you have an engagement ad or a video view ad, and you're circulating those out and you are hitting 4, 5, 6 in frequency, so the number of how frequently people are seeing that same ad, it's that's not good. That's your indicator. That's your canary in the coal mine of like, wait a second, I might be throwing too much budget on too small of an audience. And that's not ideal. So you really want to pay attention to those when you're first starting out. This usually is a problem that small businesses with smaller budgets run into, is they have smaller audiences to begin with, and it's too easy to exhaust those audiences. So that's why having a little bit of a strategy in place, let's go back over here, a little bit of a strategy in place to roll that budget out across, to split up how you're spending those ad dollars. Like this, for example, this one example is, putting $150 a month on reaching new people who don't know you yet. So that's helping to grow your audience sizes. And then taking $100 a month and retargeting those people that you've reached. So you're trying to draw them through the funnel. So that's an example of a really tiny budget. Say, for example, you have more budget to work with, maybe not 5,000, maybe you have like 2,000, and how you can roll that budget out. You can balance it differently by having a strategy behind it. So in this example, it's heavy loading that budget into that warm audience segment, the people who are already familiar with you, and it's really trying to push them into becoming a hot audience of people who are ready to buy. So depending on where you are at in your audience sizes, where you're at in your selling cycle, you might rebalance your budget a lot differently. And then if you only had, for example, again, heading back here, if I only had $100 to put into Facebook ads, I'm not going to have a full robust strategy behind reaching cold audiences, warm audiences, and then retargeting to hot audiences. It just doesn't make sense. So you really do have to, when you're on the more conservative side of the scale, when it comes to budgets, and I would say $500 a month is quite reasonable as a low end budget. $250 is a little bit thin, but I also want to ask you: are you boosting posts? So let's go back here. Are you boosting posts? Because if you're boosting posts and that's your strategy, I'm not going to fault you for boosting posts. A lot of people will say, don't boost posts, you're wasting your money. If you know what you're doing, go ahead and boost those posts. If you don't know what you're doing and you're just dipping your toes into the water on getting used to Facebook ads, go ahead and boost those posts. It's okay. Get used to it, because it gets you introduced to the idea of handing money over to Facebook, you getting a certain number of results, helps you set a baseline so that you know what numbers you have to work with to improve on from there. But ultimately, you want to be creating ads using Ads Manager. And if you are boosting the odd post, you're going to notice after a while, and realtors, I'm really talking to you right here, because you're the biggest group of people who do this, where you just boost a post because it's easy, and you might boost it for $50. And then you have another property, so you do it on that one. And then you have another one. And before you know it, the end of the month is rolled around, and you've already spent $250 to $500 in that month just on boosting posts alone. If you are in that category, stop what you're doing. It's time to actually put those ad dollars into a strategy, and it's time to start using those ad dollars more wisely to spread them out as far as they can go. Because in that case, then you are wasting money with Facebook if you're just relying on boosted posts, and we don't want to see that. So having a little bit of strategy in behind it is incredibly helpful. And if you have a small budget to work with, you're not alone. Facebook ads can still work for you, but it really does come down to managing those expectations and aligning those expectations with the actions and activities on Facebook. So if you have a small budget to work with, let's keep that audience on Facebook, because we can spread your budget even further. If you need to get those eyeballs off of Facebook and onto your website, it's going to cost you more. So let's budget and plan for that. And then you can incrementally start stepping up your budget once you get to the point where you realize, all right, we have a strategy now in place where we're reaching our cold audience of people, and they're watching our videos, they're consuming our content, they're really liking it. Now we're going to layer on our retargeting. And you don't stop the cold audience targeting, and you don't stop what you're doing there. You keep that going. Now you're just adding on top. So you're going, okay, maybe last month we only spent $250 a month. Well, now we're ready to start our retargeting. So we're going to add another $100 onto our budget for this month and focus that on retargeting while keeping our video view campaign going. then once you have that kind of figured out, then it's like, okay, now let's layer on the following month, let's layer on another $150 and get it to the point where now you have people moving into the sales cycle. So you can move people through, you can incrementally work on it and add layers in. But I also want to encourage you to build consistency with it, especially with those small budgets. Because if you're just doing, the gas pedal and then the brake, and then the gas pedal and then the brake on your Facebook ads, you're just wasting the money altogether. Don't spend the money there at all. Don't spend it on Facebook ads at all. Figure yourself out some consistent strategies and consistent spend first, and then execute on that. And you're going with smaller budgets, it's going to serve you so much better in the long run than this yo-yo effect of like, let's spend on ads and see if we get results. Oh, we didn't get results, it didn't work. And then, a month or two later, well, let's try it again. Let's throw a little bit of ad dollars in here and it didn't work. It's not going to work for you if you keep attempting it that way. So getting some consistency. We are in January right now. Now is the time where you can build yourself a consistent schedule. You can build in the time. Take 3 months of experimenting with a small amount of ad spend and then measure how your audience sizes are growing. Measure how much more engagement you're getting on your content. Find yourself, identify exactly what measurables you want to track. Keep them on the low end of the scale, not on the, we got so many signups for our $2,500 course. No, start small. Go, okay, we had this many people engage with our content, and then we increase that by 25% month over month. Pick your numbers, track those numbers, build in some consistency, and then layer on your approach. And that's honestly, when you're working with really small budgets, you're going to be a lot more comfortable in the long run taking that approach than this yo-yo, start-stop, gas pedal brakes on Facebook ads. Because in that case, I do agree with you, they won't work for you. All right, so it's a lot of gabbing about spending money on Facebook ads. And if this chat here was more about small budgets, if you have a large conservative budget to work, or large generous budget to work with, say $5,000 a month on Facebook ads, then yes, your strategy is going to look completely different than the strategy for a small business. And that's a whole other conversation. Lots of other tactics you can be using in that. So if you are like most of the businesses that come into the bootcamp, you're spending your own hard-earned dollars, and you don't have a lot of time to experiment and waste your ad dollars while figuring out what works and what doesn't. So getting yourself into an approach where you understand exactly how much budget you want to spend, so you're not overspending and you're not underspending. Pick a number, commit to it, start some ads, focus on the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest thing to acquire right now. We're going to say attention span, so your video views or your page or post engagement, and be consistent with it. Stick with it for a little while and see what happens. And then month over month, just start layering on more complexity to your system. If you need to learn how to do ads and get beyond that boost button and you're still kind of sitting in that, I don't really know how to do ads, then I really highly recommend checking out the Facebook Ads 4-week bootcamp. That kicks off, the next one kicks off February 2nd, runs for 4 weeks. It's this kind of format where it's live streamed, so you're not getting a pre-recorded course, you're getting the most up-to-date information on Facebook ads as of the day it broadcasts. So it's a live training. It's an hour and a half long, once a week, every Tuesday, and it goes for 4 weeks. And during that time, I teach you how to make ads from the ground up using Ads Manager. I teach you how to do your audiences and targeting and how to track those audience sizes as they grow. I teach you budgets and strategy, so I give you that budget spreadsheet and other tools and resources to help you be able to create a strategy that matches with your budget. And then week 4, we go into reporting and optimizing. So looking at Ads Manager, learning how to read all the jargon in there, understand the reports, cut out the clutter, know what you need to look for. And that's where things like when we were just talking about frequency, how you know if you're spending too much on too small of an audience, looking at the numbers to understand where do we go from here, what happens next. So if that sounds like something you need, then I really highly recommend you go over to swiftkickintheads.com and check it out, sign up for the upcoming bootcamp, and let's start 2021 off in a really strong way with a great strategy for your ads. All right, well, that's all I've got for you today. If you want to geek out more on ads, make sure you head over to YouTube. I'm finally getting some content pumped up and posted over there. So, and of course, as always, follow me anywhere on the web at The Digital Gal, facebook.com/The Digital Gal. That's where you're going to get lots of this kind of content. And in the meantime, have fun. Drop your Facebook ads questions on this video, and I will follow up. And hopefully we'll see you in the boot camp. Thanks, and I'll see you again next week. Amanda Robinson, The Digital Gal, signing off.